So, good day everyone. So, we are the Group 4. So, our reporter. So, our topic is all about sensitized paper or photographic paper. So, yan. So, before we further discuss about our discussion, let me just first show you the overview of our report. So, this image right here is composes of different topics na amo ang itakel sa mga discussion. So, sensitized paper, photographic paper. So, before we go further, let me just show you the uh, distributor. So, the contributor of this process. So, the process was invented by William Henry Talbot in year 1840. So, he is an English scientist, inventor, and a photography pioneer who invented the salted paper and the calotype process. He is also a precursor to photographic process of the late 19th and 20th century. So this is Henry Talbot. Yeah, he is very relevant way back, and he is also one of the major contributor as to why successful ang photographic process sa ato ang panahon karon. So the outcome of photography is the photograph in its final shape. So for us to be able to develop an image sufficiently, so we need to maximize or to utilize a medium or a component which is they use sensitive paper to create an image. So it is also a paper that is chemically treated so that the behavior of light affects its hue. So, by the way, guys, sensitized paper is the early positive print image were created via the contact with a paper negative. So, like for example, so salted paper, they involve sensitizing of sheet of paper in a solution of sodium chloride, which is salt, and a coating the paper with silver nitrate. So, what is this chemical compound or chemical component? So, this is what we call emulsion. So emulsion, that is the coated light paper with opaque material. So ang emulsion, guys, it is a mixture of two liquid that would not normally mix. So a mixture of two immiscible liquids. So it contains of tiny particles of one liquid suspended in another. So like one of the basic example of two liquid na dili gid sila ma-mix. So for example, water and oil. So if you mix them together, dili gid sila mag-combine. So maski pag unsaon nimo siya og kutaw gamit ang kutsara or anything na pang pwede ma-mix, so dili gid siya mag-combine, mag-separate at mag-separate gid gihapon ang two liquids. So inaana ang emulsion. While ang opaque material naman, on the other hand, it is an object that completely blocks light, meaning no light is able to pass through it. So like for example, tulo mo gud na sila ka level. So like cups. So naatay transparent cups, naatay translucent cup, ug naatay opaque cup. So kanang transparent, mo na siya makapass ang light through that. Ang translucent, though naa siya color na nakapasurround ana sa cup, however, mo pass through it gihapon ang light kay makakita man gihapon ka. While ang opaque naman is katugong ginagamit na katong red na cup na ginagamit sa mga foreigners pag once mag-party-party sila. So mo na siya ang emulsion ay ang opaque cup na wala joy light na mapass through ito. Dili nimo makita ang object sulod. So yun. So this is an example of a sensitized paper, and also this is an example of an emulsion, and nag-create just through that. Another example of an image. So next.
Good day, everyone. So I'm the next reporter of Group 4. So my report is all about chlorobromide paper, silver chlorobromide paper, silver chloride, and silver bromide. So first up is silver chlorobromide paper, a relatively fast printing coated with an emulsion of chloride and silver. So combination siya. So kung ang silver chlorobromide is a combination of silver chloride and bromide. So kung sa tong naay kanang murag skill ni chloride o skill ni bromide, combination na siya. So this next please. So kananada sa pikas mo na siya ang yellow ay ang ang nasa sa left side mo na bromide tapos ang nasa right side mo na ang chloride. Next. So, mo na siya ang example sa picture. Next. Yan. Mura siya ang example sa chlorobromide paper. Next step. Okay, next is muna siya ang sa second kay muna si Angus MacBean tapos ang sa sunod kay si sa sunod na picture kay si Charles Todd. Ang nasa middle si Charles Todd, tapos ang sa dulo kay si George Brownstad, ang sa first nakalimot ko sa name. So, ang photographer sa first kay si Elliot and Fry, tapos ang sa kanang nadra sa pikas kay si Angus MacBean. As Neptune man ang title ani nga picture. So, ang nagkuha na picture or ang photographer na kay si Mang Angus MacBean himself. So, ang tao na nadira mo gyapon na ang photographer. So, next. So, ang sunod kay silver chloride, white granule water-insoluble powder that darkens on exposure to light produced by the reaction of silver nitrate with chloride. So, next kay ang ilahang chemical formula. Ang chemical formula niya kay Ag plus chemical formula. Ang chemical formula niya kay Ag positive and Cl negative. So, yung molar mass, 143.32 grams per mole. Next, silver chloride is a photosensitive material which um, reacts naturally to light when exposed to light. So, its structure is silver chloride is a simple ionic compound consisting of a silver cation, whatever, sa Ag plus, Ag positive rather, and a chloride, anion, whatever, Cl negative. Occurrence, silver chloride is found in the nature of a mineral chlorargarite. Chlorargarite is a process which kanang ang mga silver chloride, ang mga silver chemicals are came sa kanang usa ka chemical. Sunod kay physical properties, silver chloride exists as a white crystallized solid. Density 5.56 grams per milliliter. Melting point 455 point ay 455 Celsius. Boiling point 1547 Celsius. Next is chemical properties. Silver chloride is an insoluble in water, alcohol, and dilute acids, but soluble in ammonia and concentrated acids. Ammonia and concentrated acids kay kanang mo na siyang ginagamit sa kanang mostly sa mga chemists to break down a chemical. Uses, many of these applications of AgCl are based on its light sensitive conservation, metallic silver such as preparation of photographic films and photographic lenses. So aside sa ginagamit na siya sa photography, it is also used as antimicrobial products such as soap, toothpaste, detergents, kanang mga panglimpyo, kanang panggamit sa pagpalimpyo og sa mud, o kanang ano po siya, antidote po siya sa mercury poisoning. So next po. So health effects, safety hazards. Silver chloride is not toxic at low concentrations and is used as medical and disinfecting applications. However, if swallowed or inhaled in high concentrations, it may cause irritation of mucous membrane, serious dislocation of internal tissues or argyria, and kidney damage. Skin or eye contact with silver chloride can cause grayish discoloration of skin and tissue. So, og ma-expose ang imong, for example, imong mata or imong skin sa silver chloride na siya direct ka na exposure, ano lang daw nimo siya, running water. Tapos og kanang nasulod na jud siya sa imong lawas ba na kanang through inhalation or kanang na-swallow nimo siya, mag-ano na daw ka og kanang medical attention. Like adto jud ka sa ospital. Next po. So the other type is silver bromide, a yellowish water-insoluble powder which darkens on exposure to light, produce the reaction of silver nitrate with a bromide. So muna siya ang picture niya. So next po. So ang chemical formula niya kay AGBR. Wala siya sign, wala siya positive, negative, or what. AGBR lang din siya. So, ang molar mass, 187.77 grams per mole. Next po. Structure. It is an inorganic compound made up of silver metal Ag and the bromine atom Br held together through a polar covalent bond which has a strong ionic character. Occurrence. Silver bromide occurs naturally as mineral bromargarite in considerable amounts. So bromargarite is para sa katong kagarin na kay namotoy term po dito sa occurrence pag sa niagi ay sa tong sa photochloride ay sa chloride nga na substance. So kani pod siya bromargarite. So pag kanang naay bromide dito bromide most specifically ang katong kaning silver bromide nga chemical dito na siya gikan. So physical properties, silver bromide is found as a pale yellow, odorless solid. Density 6.473 grams per milliliter. Melting point 42 Celsius, boiling point 1502 Celsius. Next po. Chemical properties. Silver bromide is characterized by its photosensitive property. It reacts when exposed to light and turns gray or black. So parehas sila ni silver chloride o silver chlorobromide. Actually, ang kasagaran sa mga kanang silver na ay silver chemical or silver nga property kay mag-itom jud sila basta ma-expose sa light. So uses due to its light sensitive nature, it is used in photographic films and plates. But aside from that, it is also used in kanang mga antiseptic god, ang mga anti-agent kanang mga panglimpyo para sa kepon sa chloride na product. So next po. So health effects, safety hazards. Silver bromide is not particularly hazardous, but upon skin or eye contact, it can cause irritation and grayish discoloration. So pares gyapon sa silver chloride pag ma-expose imong mata or imong skin, i-exist in water lang nimo siya, running water nimo tapos ug mahinga nimo or maka direct contact jud ka na kanang giinom nimo or without knowing na ano jud na siya kanang chemical na siya kuha na ka dayon sa doktor. Dili na nimo siya imnan og tubig kay basig kanang madaot pa kag samot ba. Next.
So now we will be discussing another types of photographic paper. So this is variable contrast paper. So you are presented with a broad choice when purchasing a photographic printing paper, and one of the key choices you can consider is contrast. So before I'll be discussing or introducing to you what is contrast for you to be able to understand it. But first, I will just show you an image. So this image right here is produces by Ilford, which is a manufacturer of photographic materials known for their black and white film paper and chemicals. So they are very well known in UK way back. Sila ang usually gina-utilize before. So another picture, this is an example of a graded contrast paper. So I'm not really certain if variable contrast paper and graded contrast paper are the same, but I haven't seen any image na indicate na that is an example of variable contrast paper. But if ever I am wrong, please correct me and enlighten us. But anyway, now let's proceed to understanding contrast. So contrast is the amount of separation between the bright tones in an image and the dark tones in an image. So we will be going to discuss contrast so that you will be able to understand what is variable contrast paper. So later I'll be showing you an image for you to be able to visualize what is the differences of bright tones and dark tones in an image. So there are two types of contrast, which are high contrast and low contrast. So high contrast image have white tone and black tones and few gray tones in between, while low contrast, on the other hand, is an image that have a lot of different gray tones, but no true whites or true black. So again, I'll show you a picture later. So if an image has too much contrast, it will look like a bad photocopy. If an image doesn't have enough contrast, it will appear muddy and is often described as being flat or flat photo. So, mura po dunag, for example, if you edit your picture and you add too much contrast in it, then mas sobraan siya ka-sharpen ang imuhang mga features na gina-focusan sa contrast. So, naay tendency nasakit siya sa mata. 'Di ba? So mahimong murag pixelated ang imuhang image. However, if ang imuha namang image is gamay lang pud kayo ang contrast na imuhang na-add or mura ra jud siya wala, kay na tendency na the picture would come out boring or dili siya pleasing sa mata, mainly because wala kayo kay na-enhance sa iyang mga feature gamit ang contrast. So if the more contrast you add, the more things you're turning black and white. Yes, that is true. If increasing a step in a contrast will turn the things that are very dark gray and very light gray into black and white. So, this is the example image. Ayan. So this two right here is an example of a high contrast and a low contrast. So this first image sa taas, this is an example of a high contrast. You add far too much contrast in it. On the other hand, kanisa below, this is an example of a flat photo or a photo that you haven't add much contrast in it. So as you can see, in ani gid ang outcome. Pag in ani, di ba, too boring. Dili kaya siya interesting, dili siya pleasing sa mata. Well, kani naman too much, irritating na pud siya sa mata tanawon. So let's stick sa between, which is dili kayo sobra, dili pud kayo kulang, tama-tama lang. So now let's proceed to variable contrast paper. So it allows you to produce a variety of contrast using the same paper. So you do this by changing the color of the light project onto the paper. So like for example, adding magenta to the light. So you increase the contrast. So it is defined as a printing paper in which the image contrast is regulated by the color of a printing light. So here is an example. So see, nakita gyapon niyo na po Ilford multigrade, mainly because they're very famous way back. So that is why sila good usually ang sila good more often ang gina-utilize. So a paper with a combination of two emulsion, one of a high contrast and one of a low contrast. So I've already tackled about this understanding contrast, which is I'm assuming that you already understand those. So each of which includes dyes sensitized to react to various parts of the visible spectrum. So visible spectrum, it is a portion of the electromagnetic spectrum that is visible to the human eye. So kadugong more rainbow colors, something. So those are visible spectrum. So a black and white printing paper's task is to replicate tones seen in a negative, such that there is a desired amount of contrast in the print you created. But unfortunately, not all negatives are exposed or processed to maximize this. That is why sometimes you ended up with a soft negative that will produce a flat, gray photo or a hard contrast negative that produces a smooth and whitewash print. So if you didn't added a desired amount of contrast to the paper or to the image, then of course, na-adjust tendency na ma-fall gid siya sa two choices, which is too much contrast contrast or not enough contrast. So always stick to the desired amount of contrast for you to be able to develop a very nice image that is pleasing to the eyes of everybody. So that concludes my report on this part. So here is an example, rather, of the high contrast and the low contrast. So that's it. Next.
My name is Fanny Lois Lutaro, and I will be the next reporter. So, photographic paper. Photographic paper is a paper coated with a light-sensitive chemical formula used for making photographic prints. When photographic paper is exposed to light, it captures latent image that is then developed to form a visible image. So, photographic paper is used for us to have a physical result of of the image we captured from the camera. So, in order to have a latent image, okay, there is two uh, types of process of printing of image, such as contact printing and enlarger printing. Contact printing is a process na to use a contact printer. Ang contact printer kay it's like a board with a sheet of glass. So pag-process ani kay you're going to place the photographic paper on the board sa katong contact printer, tapos tapos i-place nimo ang photographic film negative sa ibabaw sa photographic paper, and then ibutang na pod ang sheet of glass on the top sa photographic film negative, and then dito na siya i-expose to siya sa light, and then dito na mag-form ang latent image sa photographic paper. While ang enlarger printing kay nakay gamiton na kanang enlarger. Enlarger is it's like an instrument wherein you're going the to put the photographic film negative dito sa enlarger. Tapos dito na mag-expose og light from from the from the enlarger to the photographic paper. So dito na mag-create og latent image. Next slide please. Next is the emotion layer. Emotion layer is a layer sa photographic paper. So a layer consisting of silver halide suspended in a colloidal material, usually gelatin coated onto a paper. So silver halide is the light sensitive chemical sa photographic paper that is coated with gelatin. And gelatin holds the silver halide to be to be intact. Tapos silver halide and are ang responsible sa pag-form sa latent image. The more ang light na exposed, the more na black ang result sa latent image. And the less the light will pass through the silver halide, kay the more na lighter or white ang latent image. Next slide, please. So there's a kind of silver halide. So first kay ang silver chloride, mainly used for contact printing, works with long exposure times. Their sensitivity is limited to UV light and violet. It results a warm tone image. So ang silver chloride kay has a low sensitivity of light, and it takes 10 to 20 seconds na time exposure na which mag-result siya og yellowish, brownish, or reddish na tone. Next na picture please. Uh, just like sa picture, ang sa left kay mo na ang like normal na color na picture, while in the right kay mo na ang result sa silver chloride. Next. Silver bromide. The sensitivity widens almost up to green light. Green light. They print with a neutral to cold cast, produces neutral black or cold blue pack image tones. So, silver bromide is very sensitive to light, and in it takes short time na iyahang exposure sa light, and result sa image sa silver bromide has a cold pale tone na image. For example, na sa picture, next slide please. Next slide. Just like this, na siya pagka cold, feel na tone. Next. So next kay ang chlorobromide, sensitive enough to allow working under the enlarger and contact printing, which requires relatively short exposure times, have a sensitivity to light that may go from violet, blue up to cyan, but not necessarily up to green, and most definitely not up to red light. It produces warm black to neutral tones. So, chlorobromide na photographic paper kay ang result na image kay na siya pagka dark kind of tone. Next picture. Just like this. Next. So, this is example pod sa katon three kinds of silver halide. Sa left side kay morning example sa chlorobromide na siya pagka dark na siya pagka black na result sa image. Tapos ang sa center kay na siya pagka cold tone. Tapos ang sa cold tone kay mo siya sa silver bromide, and sa right side kay silver chloride na siya pagka warm tone. Next. Baryta layer. The word baryta comes from the chemical compound barium sulfate containing mineral barite. This is a natural mineral similar to clay, and it is used as a coating in paper. Next. Baryta layers helps to brighten the image and prevents other chemicals to absorb on the fibers from infiltrating the outer layers of the paper. So, money ang two functions sa baryta layer. Iyahang ginapa-brighten ang image, and iyahang gina-prevent ang other chemicals na ma-observe sa lain na layers. Next. So, next layer ni siya sa emulsion layer. So, dara siya sa ikaduha. Next. Fiber-based paper. Fiber-based paper is a kind of photographic paper. Consists of a paper base coated with baryta. Most fiber-based papers include a clear, hardened gelatin layer above the emulsion, which protects it from physical damage, especially during processing. This is called the super coating. So, fiber-based paper kay kind ni siya sa photographic paper na naga-consist of baryta layers. Next. So, kaning super coating dire sa na picture kay mo siya ang layer na naga-prevent from scratching and other other damages sa photographic paper. Next. Resin-coated paper. The paper base of resin-coated papers is sealed by two polyethylene layers, making it impenetrable to liquids. Varietal layer is not used in this photo paper. Any brightening or tinting agents are incorporated into the inner polyethylene lamination layer or the emulsion itself. So, ang resin-coated paper kay kain pod ni siya o sa photographic paper na na siya'y polyethylene layer. So, instead sa varietal layer, polyethylene ang gamit ani. The same lang pod sila og kanang function sa varita. 'Di ba ang varita kay prevent siya sa absorb sa lain ay sa mga chemicals sa laing layers. While ang polyethylene kay gina-prevent po niya ang pag-absorb sa lain na chemicals pati na sa liquid. So kaning resin coated paper kay most likely ni siya na ginagamit na karon kay dali lang manggod ni siya mauga. So compare sa fiber based. Next. So this is the layer sa resin coated. So duha ang polyethylene layer kay gina-protect ganin niya ang base sa chemicals and liquid. Next. So last is the base. Last layer sa photographic paper. The paper base or support serves as the substrate onto which the subsequent layers are attached. Paper is in many ways an ideal support. It is lightweight, flexible, and strong enough to withstand both wet processing and regular handling. So, paper, ang gimong base sa photographic paper, kay ideal siya, it's because kani kay lightweight, flexible, and strong enough siya nga mustand sa both wet processing. So, ideal pod siya kay ma-place man gud sa paper ang buo ang like ang image na imo na capture from the camera, and dili po mag-contradict ang pag kuan sa imuhang image. It's because ang color mismo sa paper kay white. Oh, that's all.
So that concludes our report. So I hope that we efficiently deliver all the necessary information. So I hope you learn from the discussion. Again, thank you very much and God bless.